Hello, everybody, and thank you so much for joining me for another episode of Interviews, where we meet the entrepreneurs behind the businesses in South Africa. And today I am super excited to be chatting with Rob Stuart, who is a specialist in building chatbots. Now, until recently, I didn't really know what chatbots were until I watched a fantastic training video with Rob. And then I was blown away. Now I want a chatbot for everything. And it's become quite a complicated decision for me to decide now, where do I put the chatbot? Why do I put it there? And all of those kinds of questions. So today we've got Rob here who can tell us all about it and answer all of my questions so that all of you can share the learning with me. So, Rob, perhaps we can just start the conversation with just a short introduction of who you are and what you do, so that people have a little bit of background about you. And then if you could just tell us very briefly, what is a chatbot and what does it do?
Sure. Thank you, Melanie. My name is Rob. I work for a company called Dragon Consulting. I look after the technical operations for the company. My wife and partner runs the company. They're a marketing business, and very often they require a technical solution for their marketing requirements. One of these being a chatbot. A chatbot, in essence, is an automated widget that communicates either via text or voice to a user, and basically answering questions for people as and when they're asked. If I look at the history of a chatbot, a lot of people are making a lot of hype around chatbots recently, but they've been around since the mid-60s.
Wow.
So they've come a long way. And now people are really starting to take chatbots on board. And there are many applications you could use chatbots for. They're not just simply a little thing that you tack onto your website and hope someone talks to. There are a lot of other applications that are successfully used for businesses and large enterprises as well as small enterprises to basically make money and make sure the company runs a whole lot smoother.
Okay, so most of the people who are going to be watching this in my networks are either startups who have nothing in place, or for my more mature group, we've got another group of entrepreneurs who are mostly entrepreneurs who've been around for quite a long time. So they're older entrepreneurs who've been self-employed for many years, and are they've got all their systems built, but I think a lot of us are quite set in our ways with our systems and the way we use our systems. So maybe you could just from those two perspectives tell us how chatbots would fit in for those kinds of entrepreneurs, mostly one-man operations.
Okay, so if we take the first example, the sort of one-man operation starting out and wanting to get their business going, it may or may not be the right solution. I'm not the type of person, although I love chatbots and I'm amazed at what they can do every day, I'm certainly not the type of person that thinks that everybody should have a chatbot.
Okay.
It's really the requirement on the business and how they're going to use that chatbot. As I mentioned, basically the chatbot is an automated solution while the person is not there. So it would sit on your website or on Facebook and would respond to questions that a particular user may have about your product or service. So if you're starting out, you may not have a requirement for chatbot because there may not be, many solutions and confusions around what your product or service is. It's pretty straightforward. As your business grows, you may decide to incorporate a chatbot, or if you're looking to grow your business through qualifying your leads that come in, so you have a website. The age-old problem is you have people build a website and they expect, I've got a great website, people are going to come, the business is going to roll in. Unfortunately, that's not the case. So you have a website, you need to then drive the people to the website. Once you start getting traffic on your website, your bot will then start getting visibility. Excuse me. That doesn't necessarily mean that you have to have a website to run a bot. One of my clients who runs a small Q&A sort of quizzes, pub quiz type business. So it's a one-man show. The chatbot was an ideal solution. It has nothing to do with his website. People submit their answers via the chatbot. The chatbot then collates and guides them through the question and answer process and submits the answers through to the quizmaster. He then collates and tallies up the scores and presents the winners with their trophies or prizes. So it's something completely different from what you would think a normal chatbot would be, where it would just sit on your website and say, "Hi, I'm chatbotty, and I can answer any questions you want."
Yes.
That's not always the case. So if we now escalate the requirement to perhaps the enterprise-wide solutions, the chatbot forms quite a pivotal role in that it takes up the time spent that a human would have to respond to users' questions.
Mm.
And very often these are the same questions time and time and time again. Excuse me, but and I know, excuse me, and I know that while they do have frequently asked questions and answers to these frequently asked questions on the website, not very many people have the time to go and find out where the frequently asked questions section is and then find out if one of the answers that they're looking for is amongst that. They would far rather, if there is a chatbot there, just quickly type into the chatbot and say, "Hi, does your company do X, Y, Z?" And the chatbot could answer it back. So that's really where the chatbots excel. With regards to qualifying leads, if someone does come to a website and say, "Oh, I like what you do, I like your product or service, can you tell me more about the cost of X, Y, Z?" The chatbot will pop up and say, "Hi, before we continue, give me some of your information. What is it that you're looking for? How many are you looking for? What's your budget?" If the chatbot is that brave. And that would then go through as a qualified lead to the business owner.
I think a chatbot would be much braver for me to ask that question than me myself.
No, very.
So what you've just described there for me actually kind of helps to inform where I need to put my chatbot in, because I've got a website where essentially, so I've pivoted my business. I used to sell kits of chemicals and workshops. Now I sell online workshops, and the kits are distributed by somebody else. I no longer own that business at all. So I still get a lot of inquiries that come in through my website of people who are looking for a source. Where can I buy dye? Now, what has happened is I actually would like to speak to those people, because there are potential customers for what I do, which is the online training. Except that I no longer supply the kits. So I would like to collect their email address for my mailing list. But so at this stage, I'm doing a lot of manual emails where I'm responding to people to say, "Thank you so much for your mail. If you want to learn how to use the dye, I can teach you. But if you want to buy it, you need to go here." So in that respect, I can see where a chatbot would already save me quite a lot of time and energy.
Very, very definitely. So just quickly off the top of my head, if I were to answer your requirement, someone would come to your website, they looking for a distributor or source where they could buy your kits. Your bot would come up and say, "What location are you in? We have a number of distributors around the country. What location are you in? If you like, we can then forward your information on to them," and they would contact you. And by the way, would you be interested in some training as to how to use your kits? And the person would say, "Yes, definitely." And bam, straight away, you have a qualified lead. If they were to say, "No, just looking to, one-off kind of thing," then obviously you wouldn't be wasting your time with that particular lead. So very easy for a bot to do. And the beautiful thing about a bot is it works 24/7. You will be amazed at the number of people who are awake at 1, 2, 3 o'clock in the morning, and I think you're one of them, actually. 1, 2 o'clock in the morning, going through Facebook, making applications, commenting,
Yes.
etc.
So the reason I'm laughing is because I actually at one stage took my WhatsApp number off all social media and stuff like that. It was kind of about 5 years ago when things were still transitioning, where I would have people phone me on a Saturday night at 11 o'clock, demanding that I teach them there and then on the spot.
Yeah. Yeah.
Which was very exhausting. So I can also see that the chatbot can be a buffer, which then helps to feel your customer that they're still being served, help your customer to feel they're still being serviced, but then without invading on your personal privacy, because let's all face it, we need some self-care time.
Yeah, very definitely, especially if you're a small entrepreneur. Most entrepreneurs work 20 hours a day, trying to build and grow their business. So they need that very little and rare time off that they get for themselves. And they don't want to be dealing with numerous questions and answers that they have to provide either over the phone, by email, etc. And one, I mentioned chatbot as a name. One of the other things that a chatbot does, it gives your brand a personality. If we look at Siri, if we think of Bixby, if we think of Alexa, these are chatbots. That's all they are. They're chatbots, but they've given a personality to Amazon, to Apple, to Android. So it's exactly the same kind of thing. You could give your own chatbot its own little personality, and someone can come back to that chatbot. They know how to use it. Very often people want information. They don't want to trawl through a website trying to find out whether the information is available somewhere on your website. Today's websites are typically built on previous websites, which are built on previous websites, which are built on previous websites. So, information just gets piled on wherever it is. And it's very, really easy to find information. And a chatbot is exactly that. It's a very quick way to have questions answered, whether they're coming to your website. And in some cases, if you have a chatbot that's available on a Facebook platform. In fact, now Instagram are now also opening up a facility for chatbots as well, which is fantastic news. That was hot news literally in the last week. Typically, it was only off the Facebook Messenger platform. Now it's the Instagram as well, which is great. So you can now start reaching your clients, whether they're on Facebook, Instagram, or coming to your website. You can reach them, they can reach your bot, they can communicate and get the information they need. And as I mentioned, the biggest thing is you're getting the qualified leads. You're dealing with the simple everyday answers, and you're getting the information you need that you can spend your time as a business owner, whether you're big or small, as a business owner, and focusing on the things that you need to focus on.
For me, I think the most powerful thing is the fact that it will pre-qualify my leads for me, because it's and I know a lot of small businesses feel that it's not important. You've got to take all the work that comes along. You've got to speak to every potential customer that comes along. And at some point in your business, you get to a point where you cannot talk to everybody, especially if they're really not your customer and they're just wasting your time. So pre-qualifying of leads, I think, is very powerful, even for small businesses.
We find, certainly in the marketing field, we find that the biggest thing that we need to teach our clients and entrepreneurs, whether they're big or small, quite honestly, is remember that sometimes it is okay to say no to a client.
Yes.
You don't have to chase every potential lead.
Yes.
If you think that this is not the type of client, for whatever reasons you want to deal with them, you think it's not worth your while, you say no.
Yes.
It's a big and brave step to take, but you're able to do it. And with the aid of a chatbot, it automatically quietly does that for you. Say, yeah, the ones that are giving you the right information, and those guys you can kind of ignore.
Yes, I quite like that, because it takes the personal sting out of giving the no.
Mm, mm. Yeah, very definitely. Very definitely.
So why do you think, you say that this seems to be a prevailing kind of way of thinking and being for South African entrepreneurs? Why do you think it is we are this way? Is it because we're so hungry for work that we kind of feel that we have to speak to everybody?
I don't necessarily think it's a local thing. I think any small entrepreneur trying to make their niche, mark in the world, has that problem, and they grapple with that problem every day. Think I need to make money. So wherever this money is coming from, however small it is, I need to do it.
Mm,
But there comes a time, what people need to understand, there is only so many hours in a day, and you can only spend so much with a client. So you need to now start picking and choosing who you're going to be spending time with and what you're going to be spending your time
mm,
on.
mm, mm,
And if you don't get that right, your business is going to struggle. You want to, yes, I understand when you start, you're starting off small, you're going to have the small deals, but you then need to go through that growth phase and go through the maturity of a business. And as you go through those different levels, you need to recognize, okay, I'm now graded a level up, and this is now the client I'm wanting to aim for.
mm,
And the new clients that are coming in, nope, sorry, I need to move on.
mm,
That's a conscious decision business owners need to make every day. It's not an easy one,
mm,
especially, and it works the other way. So it might be not necessarily that you're growing up and turning the lower, for want of a better term, the rats and mice away. But if a large, massive client comes to you, you also need to be brave enough to say, look, I'm sorry, I don't have the expertise to do that. You know, I can refer you to someone who I know. And that's why you need to widen your network of suppliers and connections to say, well, if I have this big job, I need to hand it to them.
mm,
That one is not going to damage my reputation and get the job done right.
mm,
The worst thing an entrepreneur can do is damage their reputation.
mm,
And if they damage that reputation, it sits with them for a long, 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 long time. And especially if you damage your reputation with a big player, that can sit around for a long time as well. So don't be afraid to say no to the small guys and to the big guys. You need to make sure that you're targeting your business for where you are in the stage of your business.
mm. That's such great advice. Thank you so much for
Sure.
adding real value to this
Yeah.
conversation for those who are watching. I
Not
appreciate it
necessarily
so much.
chatbot related, but yeah.
So the whole idea with interviews is that I believe that every single entrepreneur out there has wisdom to share that we can all learn from. So thank
Agreed.
you very much for being open to doing that. So back to the chatbots.
Mm.
When I watched your training session the other day, I was blown away with the functionality of the platform that you were using. It was amazing because
Yep.
it looks like you can do everything on there.
Pretty
Then,
close.
yes. Then this week, Facebook made me an offer on one of my pages that I could connect a Facebook chatbot through
Yes.
the page.
Yes.
So what was interesting for me is that the platform that you use has so much more functionality than Facebook. Only gives you 3 questions. Your bot can only ask 3 questions and then it's run out. So
Mm.
that for
Mm.
me is just not enough.
Yep.
So it also appears that there are platforms and platforms to use.
Quite correct.
Which
Quite correct.
which ones do you recommend?
Well, again, horses for courses. So
Okay.
we looked at a number of platforms before I settled with one particular platform. And we looked at Facebook primarily, and there are 2 big players on the Facebook platform.
Mm,
The reason why I chose Facebook as a platform for a number of reasons, because obviously their infrastructure,
mm,
one, is solid. So we know that what's going to happen on their platform is going to work. 2, it's a familiar platform within the messenger field. 50 billion messages are sent per month.
wow.
That's just scary when you have 2.6 billion users
Wow.
using Facebook. Those are scary numbers. So, and also not only scary, but hard to look away from. You
Yes.
say that's the platform that you need to be on.
Yes.
I know a lot of people saying, oh, but Rob, it's only the old fogies. Kind of take offense to that because maybe I'm there yet. I don't know. Only the old fogies are on Facebook. Nobody's on Facebook. Everybody's either on Pinterest or Instagram or TikTok or whatever. So what's the point on that platform? The thing is, that platform doesn't necessarily exclude you from reaching those people. So if you're on your website, you can actually use the bot on your website, although it's running off the Facebook platform, you can go and use it without even being a Facebook user.
Mm.
So yeah, it gives you that flexibility as well. And
So
that's why we chose that particular platform.
yeah. The other thing that I find amazing about the bot is that you can attach it to almost anything. That I absolutely love, is that you can take it from one place. And can you set it up so it works on WhatsApp also?
You can. There are not this particular bot. There are WhatsApp bots as well that you can develop. They are, however, a little bit more costly because they then start charging, one, for the platform that you're working on, and two, also start charging for the messages that you're sending,
Okay.
which can also be costly.
Okay.
When we talk about costly, we're talking about a couple of cents a message. But when you start sending a couple of thousand messages, it starts adding up very quickly.
Yes.
The platform, it's just a different kettle of fish. It's certainly a great platform to use, but from a messenger chat bot point of view, we prefer the Facebook platform.
Okay. Okay. Makes sense. Makes total sense. So when I was sent the invite to try out the Facebook chatbot, I went through the whole process, and then when I tried to put it on my website, because I try to do everything myself. So I've got a website with Nilo, and I use their simple site builder, because when I tried the WordPress, it was too complicated for me. That was where I was like, okay, I'm in over my head now. So on their simple site builder, they don't have the plug-in for the Facebook chatbot. So I'm not able to add it to my website. So is that a challenge that often comes up with different websites?
No, I've yet to have a challenge with regards to installing a bot onto a website at all. It's a simple one-line piece of code that you put onto the back end of the website.
Okay.
I'm sure your site builder has an option where you could insert what we call HTML code. So you go to that little option and you just cut and paste the code into that HTML block and you're done. It's as simple as that.
Okay, so I must go looking for where the HTML code is. I've never seen it for my site because everything's done on WYSIWYG.
Yes. No. And for the very reason, a lot of these WYSIWYG type web builders have a facility where you can go and put in and paste in little bits of code.
Okay.
So just look for an HTML code block.
Okay.
Ask your hosting provider. I'm sure they'll be
explore more buttons. Explore more buttons.
Yeah, exactly. It is really easy though.
Okay. And Rob, so if there's somebody out there who would like to speak to you about building a chatbot, where can they find you and how can they get hold of you?
Very easy. Contact me directly via my email address. It's rob@dragonconsulting.co.za. And just pop me a mail and I'll be in touch straight away. Not a problem.
Okay.
Alternatively, you can go to our website, www.dragonconsulting.co.za, and you'll see a bot there. And you can actually leave your details on the bot as well.
Oh, that's amazing. So we can test drive it.
Test drive. In fact, there's a demo on the site as well.
Okay. Okay, that's awesome. So I would like to thank you. And also I would like to recommend you to anybody out there listening. This guy is amazing at training. I've attended one of his training sessions and he's very detailed and amazing. I actually learned. Very seldom that you watch a thing like that and come out understanding what happened. So he's a fantastic trainer, and he knows a lot about chatbots. And if you're looking for a chatbot, please get in touch with him. I think he's the man to talk to at the moment. Thank you so much for your generosity and your time today, Rob. I really appreciate it.
No, thank you, Melanie, very much for the opportunity you've given me. It's only a pleasure. Chatbots are a passion for me. Technology is my passion, so I'm always happy and always available to chat. If anyone just wants to ask questions, I'm also always available. Even if they're not interested in actually getting a bot or don't think they're ready, I'm always available to chat.
Okay. Thank you so much for everything today. I appreciate it.
Only a pleasure. Thanks again for your time.